She's married. She wears a ring. She posts happy photos. But deep down, she's starving. Not for food, not for money, but for something she hasn't felt in a long time. Attention. Let's be real. A lot of married women are emotionally empty, but they'll never say it. Why? Because society tells them to be strong, to be the perfect wife, to never complain. So instead, they suffer in silence. And that silence? That's where the danger begins. This video isn't here to shame anyone. It's here to show the brutal truth no one wants to admit. Not even her. She doesn't become prey because she's bad. She becomes prey because she's unseen. And when a woman feels unseen for long enough, she starts searching, not with her body, but with her soul. 1. When marriage becomes a job, not a bond. She wakes up, feeds the kids, cleans the house, pays the bills, plans the meals, but no one sees her. Not the woman with dreams. Not the woman who wants to feel beautiful. Not the woman who used to dance in the mirror just to feel alive. The man she married used to look at her with hunger in his eyes. Now he barely looks up from his phone. She's not being loved anymore. She's being used. 2. The new man doesn't have to be better, just present. When another man shows up, he doesn't need to be rich, or handsome, or charming. He just needs to notice. He says, "You look tired today." He says, "I like the way you laugh." He listens when she talks. He looks her in the eyes. And suddenly, boom, she feels alive again. It's not about cheating. It's about escaping. Escaping the cold silence of a home where she's invisible. 3. Emotional affairs are the real trap. Most people think cheating only matters when it becomes physical, when clothes come off, when someone crosses a physical line. But the real danger doesn't begin there. It begins long before that. It starts quietly, slowly, silently, and it starts inside the mind. It begins when she feels unseen, not unloved, just unnoticed. Her thoughts, her feelings, her pain, it goes unheard. She starts to drift, not with her body, but with her attention. She starts looking elsewhere, not to betray you, but to feel alive again. It happens in harmless-looking moments. A joke that makes her laugh a little too hard. A message that makes her smile longer than it should. A conversation that she never tells you about. A name that keeps showing up in her notifications. At first, it looks innocent, but inside her, something is shifting. She starts protecting her phone. She turns the screen when you walk in. She says, "It's nothing," but you feel the gap growing. You notice her excitement, but it's not for you. You see her happiness, but it's being fed by someone else. She still lives in the same house. She still wears the same ring. But emotionally, she's in another world now. She's not cheating with her body. She's cheating with her attention, with her imagination, with her emotional loyalty. And that kind of cheating is far more dangerous because it builds a connection that you're not a part of, a secret space, a private world, one where she feels special again, desired again, chosen again. And the hardest part? You won't see it coming, because there's no fight, no argument, no warning. She just starts pulling away gently, quietly, without explanation. She stops sharing things with you. She stops laughing at your jokes. She stops meeting your eyes. It's like she's physically present, but spiritually gone. By the time you realize something's wrong, she's already built a second life in her heart, and you're not in it. That's the real danger. Not lust, not temptation, but emotional replacement. It's not that she wanted someone else. It's that she no longer felt wanted by you. And that little gap, That silent space became the open door for someone else to walk in, not because she planned to fall, but because she needed to feel again. And now, you're not losing her to another man. You're losing her to a feeling she thought she'd never find again. 4. Why Stoic men see it coming first. A Stoic man doesn't live in denial. He doesn't tell himself, everything is fine, just to sleep better at night. He doesn't ignore the signs simply because he's afraid of the truth. He watches. He listens. He feels the energy shift, even when nothing is said out loud. He notices when her voice changes. It's softer, colder, or simply less present. He sees when her touch fades, when her hugs become shorter, when her hand doesn't reach for his anymore. He feels the silence growing between their conversations. The laughs that used to come easily are now replaced with sighs, or nothing at all. He doesn't need her to say, "I'm pulling away." He already knows, because he pays attention not just to words, but to behavior, to presence, to patterns. When she used to smile when he walked into the room and now barely looks up, he registers that. When she stops asking for his opinion, when she dresses up, but not for him, when she's always on her phone, but never really with him, he doesn't brush it off. He lets it sink in. He doesn't explode. He doesn't beg. He doesn't accuse. He accepts what he sees, and that's what makes him powerful, because he refuses to lie to himself. He understands that pretending everything is fine only makes it worse. Stoic men don't wait until their world falls apart to open their eyes. They stay awake through the slow unraveling. That's why they see it first, long before the goodbye is spoken, long before the suitcase is packed, long before the door is closed. They don't wait for betrayal to react. They recognize the distance while there's still time to either repair or prepare. And they do it with calm, with awareness, with strength. Because the Stoic man doesn't chase love. He recognizes when it's leaving. And while most are shocked when they're left in the dark, the Stoic man has already adjusted to the light of truth. 5. How she becomes prey. When a woman is emotionally neglected, something inside her starts to wither. Not all at once, but slowly, quietly. Day by day, her spirit begins to dim. She doesn't ask for much. She just wants to feel seen, heard, appreciated. But when that stops, when she gives and no one gives back, she starts to feel invisible. She's not out there looking to betray anyone. She's not searching for someone new. She's just surviving, holding it together, smiling on the outside while screaming on the inside. People think she's strong, and she is. But even the strongest women break when they're constantly poured out and never refilled. That's when she becomes vulnerable. That's when she becomes open, not because she wants to be, but because her heart is running on empty. And here's the part no one wants to admit. Married women who are emotionally starved are the easiest prey. Not because they're weak, but because they're tired. Tired of being ignored. Tired of feeling like a burden. Tired of always giving and never being chosen. And all it takes is one person. One man who listens. One voice that says, "You matter." One moment where she feels human again, not just useful. It doesn't have to be romantic at first. Sometimes it's just a kind word, a compliment, a conversation where she doesn't feel like she has to prove herself. And, slowly, she opens up, not because she planned to, but because that tiny crack in her heart finally lets some warmth in. The man she married may still be in the same house, but someone else is now in her head, in her emotions, in her imagination, and once that door opens, it's hard to close. She didn't go looking for danger, but when you leave a woman emotionally abandoned, danger comes looking for her, because even a loyal heart can break. Even a faithful woman can lose her way. If no one ever shows up to remind her she's still worthy of love, attention, and care. And that's how she becomes prey, not through rebellion, but through quiet neglect that no one ever noticed until it was too late. 6. The hardest truth. She wanted you to save her. You didn't see the fire. She didn't just wake up one day and decide to betray you. That's not how it happens. It started long before that, in the quiet moments you didn't notice. When she sat beside you in silence, hoping you'd ask what was wrong. When she walked around the house with tired eyes, praying you'd say, "I see you." But you didn't. She dropped hints. She gave soft warnings. A change in her tone. A shift in her mood. Less laughter. Fewer touches. She started dressing differently, hoping you'd notice. She started pulling away slowly, hoping you'd pull her back. But you didn't. You were there but not present. You talked but didn't listen. You touched but didn't feel. And while she was breaking down on the inside, you thought everything was fine on the outside. She waited. She hoped you'd step in. That you'd fight for her before she drifted too far. That you'd remind her who she was to you. But the longer she waited, the more she realized you weren't coming. Not to ask. Not to hold her. Not to save what was fading between you. And that's when the crack opened. She didn't want another man. She wanted you, but fully present. She wanted the version of you she fell in love with. The one who chased her, noticed her, made her feel like the only woman in the world. But when you stopped showing up in that way, she felt like she didn't matter anymore. So when someone else saw what you forgot to look at, she followed the feeling. Not because she planned to, but because she was drowning and you didn't throw the rope. Someone else did. That's not just cheating. That's the kind of heartbreak that comes from being forgotten by the one person she prayed would remember her. You think you lost her in the moment she crossed the line. But the truth is, you lost her in all the moments before, when she was silently begging for you to notice the fire, and you just walked by, thinking it was only smoke. 7. Final Stoic reflection. What you must do. If you feel her pulling away, the worst thing you can do is lose yourself trying to keep her. Don't beg. Don't cry at her feet. Don't try to prove your worth to someone who already made up her mind to drift. That kind of desperation won't bring her back. It will only push her further. Stay calm. Breathe. Pay attention to the shift, but don't let it shake your core. You are not here to convince someone to love you. You are here to live in truth, even when it hurts. Look her in the eyes. Ask the hard questions. Don't accuse. Don't attack. Just ask. Are you still here with me? Is your heart still mine? And then watch not just what she says, but what she does after. If she's honest and ready to work, then meet her halfway. But if she's already gone emotionally, mentally, spiritually, don't try to drag her back. Let her go. Not with bitterness, not with anger, but with strength. Because the woman who could walk away from you quietly, without explanation, without fight, was already gone long before she stepped out the door. And a woman who disappears in silence was never proud to stand beside you in the light. You don't need to burn yourself just to relight someone else's fading flame. Let your peace speak for you. Let your silence say what words no longer can. Let your self-respect be the boundary that protects your soul. Because true power isn't in chasing chaos. It's in staying rooted when storms rise. And the strongest men are not the ones who force love to stay. They're the ones who walk away with grace, when love has already left. This isn't about blaming women. This isn't about pointing fingers. This is about waking up. Because in a world full of noise, full of screens, schedules, and shallow connections, you can lose the most important person in your life while eating at the same table, sleeping in the same bed, living in the same house. She doesn't always leave with a goodbye. Sometimes she just fades. bit by bit, smile by smile, until one day all that's left is a stranger wearing the face of the woman you once knew. So this is your moment. Not to panic, not to control, but to open your eyes. See what you've been avoiding. Hear what's been silent for too long. Feel what's no longer there. And if she's still within reach, fight with clarity, not chaos. Rebuild with presence, not pressure. But if she's already gone, let her go without losing yourself. Because the real tragedy isn't that she left. It's that she left while you were too distracted to notice she was slipping away. Now you know. Now you see. What you do next, that's on you. If this hit your soul, drop a comment below. What signs did you ignore before it was too late? Share this with someone who's asleep to the truth. Someone who still thinks silence means safety. And hit that subscribe button. Not for numbers, not for ego, but for clarity. Because most men don't lose their women to other men, they lose them to neglect, to emotional blindness, to a silence they refuse to hear. Let's change that. Let's wake up. Before it's too late.